welcome to the latest episode of BAM, the show where we chat about all things sports, all things entertainment, and then at the end of the show, bring it all together to chats of sports entertainment, also known as wrestling. We're your hosts. I'm Boris, and as always, I'm joined by Matt.
Bonjour! How's everybody doing out there? We hope you're doing well. Boris, it's 40 degrees Celsius with the Humidex in Toronto. It's a sweaty, grotesque day. We watched NWA TNA's first pay-per-view, which was a mistake, a wretched file program. We also watched some good wrestling. We have some good sports to talk about. And big homie's on the recovery track. How you doing today, man?
This is how I'm doing.
Nice.
That's how I'm doing.
Good.
Jesus Christ.
All right.
Honestly, sorry. So I'm going to do my best to mute myself before I cough. But yeah, for those of you, I don't know if people have listened to the midweek markup. I know it literally just got released as I hit record. I've been sick all weekend, and it hit me literally as Vince McMahon comes out on SmackDown. My body just said, no moss, fuck you.
It just rejected it. Just rejected the notion of Vince McMahon strutting down, power walking to the ring. That's hilarious. Well, you seem all right, man. I don't know. You're drinking a beer here at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. That's good.
Yeah, well, you seem all right. Yeah. No, honestly, it's a lot better than I did on the weekend. I think the worst day was Sunday. Sunday, I basically just slept all day, made an appearance at my brother's in Oakville, but literally got back and just went right back to bed. It was just one of those weekends. And then yesterday, my throat started hurting. Still no COVID, so this isn't COVID. Luckily, thankfully, but it's just one of those things. Like, you know, the weather we've been having here. You know, one day it's plus 40, the next night it's 10 degrees. Right, like that gets to me all the time.
Yeah, man. Well, it's going to be up and down all summer, too, so hopefully you adjust. But, yeah, that's brutal, man. I hope you start to feel better soon.
Yeah, no, I'll be fine. It's always in the beginning, right? Like, I'll get sick again in September this exact same way when the weather starts going the other direction.
The change of the seasons, eh, man? Oh, dang.
Yeah. But, yeah, man, everything is going well. We've had a super busy week. Honestly, I just want to thank everyone who has kind of stepped up, done some shows. I know, like, I've kind of been MIA in that sense, but you know, the machine is still rolling. People are still talking wrestling, and you know, this week we have a full slate of shows ready for you, including this BAM, which, you know what, you said it was gross. What did you say? Hot, grotesque, something grotesque? How did you describe the weather?
The weather, it was very sticky, grotesque, hot outside. I don't know. I said those things. Yeah, I said worse things about the TNA show that we watched.
Yeah, I was going to say, literally, that's where I was going with this bit. But, yeah, well, that's where we're at right now. But, no, man, it's been, okay, so, again, how are you? How's life? How's Matt going? I think we've, like, shared, basically try to figure out when I'm, like, alive to record. That's basically when we've talked.
Yeah, man. I'm well, though. The whole sports roast thing that I was gearing up for got canceled like literally last minute, day of, which was kind of heartbreaking. I was very ready. One day I'm going to do my set. I might try to put it online and just battle the guy online. He reached out to me, so we might try to make our own thing of it. But yeah, if not, I'll just read my set on the internet one day. But yeah, no, I'm just kind of disappointed that didn't turn out because I was quite excited for that. But, you know, whatever. Well, I'll get on the next one. Anyway, other than that, life is good, though, man. You know, working very hard at my real job and watching lots of wrestling for this podcast. Some good, some absolutely awful. Lots to talk about, though. Watching sports and living life, you know, on that Tinder grind, doing my thing. It's summer, Boris. The summertime. It's a beautiful time in Toronto.
Yep. Hot girl summer, fat boy summer is indeed started.
Husky boy summer. Let's
Husky
go.
boy summer. Cheers. Oh, man, I'm going to need a nap right after this. You have no idea. Like, so I did the midweek markout at 12:50 p.m. And in the corner of my eye, I had a beer. And I'm like, fuck, I need this right now. It's just like something to get me through. As soon as I finished that, like literally as soon as I hung up with Mike, my boss calls because we have our regular sync. It was just two people just butting heads for a good hour. It's just right now work is so busy, right? And I'm like, I'm not gonna get into details. No one gives a shit about details, but just the philosophy of certain things that we're butting heads in. Nothing in a bad way. It's just like priorities and stuff.
Right.
And it's just as soon as I hung up, you messaged me, and it's like I'm ready. Like, oh my god, number one, my throat sounds a lot better. Like 5 minutes ago, it was just like, oh man, I barely have a voice. But nothing that beer can't cure. But it's just been such an insane few months. I know I say this each and every week, but holy crap, dude! Work has just been insane, just absolutely insane. I don't know where I find time to do anything.
Yeah, man, and you do a lot too. We appreciate it though, Boris. Well, I'll try to fly the plane as much as possible in this show. We'll take gravelly, deep voice, sick Boris, here or there as you come to it, buddy. Don't worry.
No, it's all good, man. And I appreciate it. I really do appreciate it. And thanks to you and Joe for taking the Rampage Ramble. It was a pretty good episode that you guys chatted about. And huge dad. Whoa. Oh, it's starting to hit me. Huge thanks to the dads. They did a phenomenal episode on Friday, not only talking about SmackDown that was, but chatting about all the Vince stuff and the news of the week. Yeah. And they did a great job of not getting us sued, so thank you to them for that.
Huge dads, absolutely, definitely. Shout out to the Smack Daddies. They're great. Brad and Greg do great work for us there down in the East Coast, Boris.
Yeah, I got to message them. It's like I know they're like worried. If I don't reach out like once every 24 hours, they think something's wrong.
The group chat, there's a group chat going, which it's fairly active. It is a kind of a daily situation. Anyway, man, let's talk some sports. Let's start with this NHL hockey situation. Tampa Bay Lightning. The Lightning live. They're back in the series, 6-2 victory over the Colorado Avalanche with their backs against the wall. The series is now 2-1 Colorado with Game 4 in Tampa Bay to come. So
is anyone really like the way that these playoffs have been going? None of this surprises me. I'm 100% expecting Game 4 to go the way of Tampa Bay again, and it just become a shorter series, right? Like that's how these playoffs have been for every team, and I suspect it's going to be the same. That there was no way in hell Tampa Bay was just going to take it lying down.
Yeah, that was the first time Tampa, like the losses in Game 1 and 2 was the first time they'd lost back-to-back games in the playoffs in forever and a day, right? So yep. I thought for sure they wouldn't lose 3. Indeed, they did come out and win. Although they were down 1-0, it was a little scary there for a second. But yeah, Tampa Bay wins 6-2. Big game from Stamkos. Big game from Vasilevsky, the goalie. And big game from Charles Barkley, who was all over the intermission and the post-game panel, having a lot of fun. That was great. Check out some Charles Barkley highlights if you haven't seen those. But he's the already the best hockey analyst there is out there. But yeah, Game 4 goes tomorrow, which is Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Colorado at Tampa Bay, and I think Tampa Bay is going to tie up the series there, like you said, big homie.
Yeah, Tampa Bay is just too good, right? There's no way they're not going to make a series out of this. And man, Barkley was freaking hilarious. Like seriously, so funny. You know what? I appreciate someone who fucks around as much as me.
Exactly. Kind of looked like Barkley was a little sauced, a little half in the bag for one of the interviews when he was talking to Kyle Bukowskis. Yes. And called him the Canadian Tom Brady. That was pretty funny. But yeah, no, Barkley just having a good time. And we need more casual hockey fans. Chris Rock has a bit about hockey where he's like, hockey is like heroin. Only heroin users use heroin. Only hockey fans watch hockey. It's like the hardest of the hardcore sports, and they don't let anyone else in. You know what I mean? That's like Chris Rock.
There's one more hardcore sport that I would consider, and that's something that we cover, and that's AEW. That's a conversation for another day, my friend. No, but it's the same. But it's the same thing, right? It's the same thing. How do you get that audience, right? Sometimes, and sometimes, I think the NHL takes itself too serious. So having moments like this, pure gold. Love it. Love to see it, right? And it's kind of what baseball did. I'm not going to say that they're happy-go-lucky, right? It's not the NBA. The NBA is the king of not taking itself too serious until recently, where I think they're taking themselves a little too serious, and it's putting off some fans. But I think it's cyclical in this sense, right? But NHL basically needs to be a little more tranquilo, maybe, take an edible, and just chill out, relax, and have fun.
Exactly, and have a cocktail with Charles Barkley, and that's what they did last night. So it was really great to see. Again, just a really big win for the playoffs, for the NHL in general. They're in the upswing. It's been a strong NHL playoff. Hopefully, the whole free agent frenzy is, not too disappointing. We see some players change teams, and it will be an exciting year next year, and hockey's on the upswing.
Speaking of changing teams, I'm changing the script on you. So how about Shea Weber?
My God. Oh yeah, well, I mean, it's proof that he's not going to play any more hockey. I think it looks like a cap situation, a retirement, and Montreal got a warm human body out of it, who they may trade after this season. We'll see what happens with Dadonov. But yeah, so the Montreal Canadiens traded captain Shea Weber to the Vegas Golden Knights for Evgeny Dadonov, I believe it was, right? Yeah. And so we got a warm human body, Boris, for a player who was never going to play hockey again. It sucks to see Shea Weber go. It made me sad to read it, but it was just confirmation that his career's over,
Yeah, that's exactly it. And at the same time, this is also brilliant on the Vegas Golden Knights, right? Like, who is kind of, I don't want to say struggling to make payroll, or like to make it in line, right? And to the salary cap.
To get under the cap, yeah.
To get under the cap, not make it, but to get under the cap. It's brilliant what they've done, and I think this just goes to show you kind of like those the nice little stuff. Like I love seeing this strategic work. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, it was at the end of the day, it was a win for both sides. There's a cap circumvention situation. I have not looked up into this. In a nutshell, they basically get the money back for Shea Weber for him retiring, and they can use that money to pay Jack Eichel and Mark Stone and the rest of their expensive players. So.
Exactly, which I'm telling you, I think Vegas is going to have the ultimate bounce back next season.
I think so, man. That's good. That's a competitive division. It's a competitive division, and it's getting better. Vancouver just signed that kid from the KHL. Edmonton's good. Calgary's good. It's a tough division. Your Kings, they're good.
They're looking good. They're looking really good. I like the fact that they're young, right? Minus a couple not so quick players anymore. There's a couple of people who I think where the Kings can upgrade, but that's a conversation for September. Speaking of teams bouncing back, Golden State Warriors, my friend.
Yeah, the dynasty. The dynasty is on. 4 titles in 8 seasons, 6 trips to the finals. One of the years they didn't win, they set the all-time record for wins in the regular season. This team's a dynasty. We're watching greatness in front of our eyes. Steph Curry, one of the 10 to 15 best players of all time, maybe higher on that list.
I think he's higher.
He changed the incredible
game. He changed the game. Larry Bird introduced this long-range shooting. Steph Curry just demolished it, and just like that is what the NBA is now. And I think it'll be this way at least for the next 5 to 10 years.
Oh, more. This is basketball from now on. The 3 is worth more than 2, and it always will be. You know what I mean? It should have been this way as soon as they instituted the 3-point line. It just took people a while to catch up.
Wait till you start seeing the 3-point alley-oops, or not alley-oops, slam dunks. That's
Boy,
the future.
Yeah, geez, I suppose so. Yeah, then basketball is fully broken. That person will definitely be the GOAT. Okay, you're a Lakers fan, aficionado.
Blow it up.
You've seen. Well, I'm not asking about the Lakers. Believe you me. I not the Lakers of 2022 anyway. I don't give a shit about them. You've seen a lot of the work of one Kobe Bean Bryant. So here's the question: who's higher on the all-time list? Kobe Bean, or Steph Curry?
It's funny because there's so many differences with these two players. Right?
Oh yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like they've had a great supporting cast that has helped them. And I'm not trying to say that either one would have not won the championships that they did without the team, but they wouldn't have won the championships they did without the team that they had. There's no way that Kobe would have won, without Shaq, especially.
But that's sports. That's fine. He's not a quarterback. He's not a goalie in hockey, right? Like I agree with you, but yeah.
Yeah. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, man, they're so comparable in so many different ways, in so many similar ways, but yet so different in how they approach a sport and how their legacy is in the sport. You know, I'm gonna have to honestly say this might be very controversial, and I hate, like, that I hate to give San Francisco any credit. But I'm going to have to say Steph Curry, in the grand scheme of things, is a better player than Kobe Bryant.
It's a huge debate, man. You can go either way on it for a long time. And like Kobe has the defensive piece, but Steph Curry's a little bit underrated as a defender. He's probably like, he's not a good defender, but he's also like, people think he's like Steve Nash. Like he's like a bullfighter out there, right? Going, you know, Olay, El Matador, Tito Santana. He's not that. He can defend. But like Kobe Bryant is a multiple time all defense team kind of defender, right? Like Kobe Bryant was a bulldog. So, but also Kobe Bryant didn't break basketball and completely change the way the game was played, right? Kobe Bryant was a Jordan clone in some ways, the best Jordan clone we've ever seen, but he played the game like Michael Jordan played the game, almost exactly like Michael Jordan played the game.
Honestly, this is what it gets. Like, I hate comparing players from different generations, right? It's like trying to compare Dr. J and Steph Curry. It's like trying to compare Dr. J and Michael Jordan. They each brought their own thing to the time that they were in. If there was no Dr. J, there wouldn't be a Michael Jordan. If there was no Michael Jordan, there wouldn't be no LeBron James. If there was no LeBron James, I don't know. We'll see who's next. But, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, it's hard. I hate comparing eras.
No, it's tough. But that's the whole fun of it, right?
It's like saying, another one I hate to give credit to.
It's an unsolvable puzzle. Anyway, go on.
Babe Ruth or Mark McGwire or Barry Bonds, right? Like, Babe Ruth or Barry Bonds. Who's better?
Well, the answer to your question is Barry Bonds, but yes, I understand exactly what you're saying.
Yes, he's better. Yes, he has the better stats and stuff. But you know, you can't compare eras, and I think that is the worst example possible. But
dominance over era is important, though, and like, but I think it's interesting. Like, if you were to make your personal top 10, where does Steph versus Kobe? That's like, I think they're right next to each other somewhere in like the 8 to 12 ish region, right? Like,
yeah, no, for sure, yeah. Like, and that's the thing, and I think Kobe honestly gets overlooked often as one of the GOATs, right? He gets overlooked a lot of times as being so good just because of, well, his personal off-court drama, you know, whether it be stuff he allegedly did or stuff with Shaq, you know, but it's just crazy. Like, we can dedicate a whole episode of another podcast just to this.
Yeah, right. Maybe one day, at least a 3-minute TikTok we can do on that one. But yeah, man, that's always just a fun debate, though. I think Steph it's the fact that this finals MVP and this 4th championship ring put Steph into that discussion, I think, is most important. Like, the Warriors dynasty, undeniable. Steph Curry, undeniably one of the best basketball players we've ever seen in our lives.
Okay, I have a big question for you, my friend. Stephen Kerr. 5 rings as a player, 4 rings as a coach.
Yeah, man. That's impressive. Eat shit, Phil Jackson.
Right?
Am I right? No, this guy's he's the new Zen master. That's exactly what he is. Steve Kerr, he's the new Zen master.
If we're looking at numbers alone, isn't Stephen Kerr the GOAT of basketball?
Huh. Interesting. Well, Jerry West has something to say about it too, because he's got a lot of titles as an executive and a player. There are people on this list, but that's a very strong case, man. Steve Kerr, I feel the way about Steve Kerr's coaching that I did when I was a kid just figuring out basketball about Phil Jackson. He seemed like the best coach, the coach of the stars. The team that he's coaching is always going to contend for a title.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what's his face? From the Yankees, 96.
Torrey?
Yeah, Joe Torre. Like, Joe Torre could have been manager. Like, that 96 Yankees team could have had a broom, a mop on the corner, and they still would have won the World Series that year.
So you're saying they could have had Dave Roberts,
Bobby Valentine.
Nice, in full costume, Bobby Valentino. I love Bobby Valentine. I miss his crazy shenanigans.
Yeah, nothing beats when he got kicked out and, like you mentioned, came back with the fake mustache. Who does that?
A crazy man. That's who does that. Bobby Valentine. We salute you here on the BAM podcast, Mr. Valentino.
Speaking of baseball, dude, first update of of All-Star Game starters ballots has come back. Want to talk about the Jays because we are from Toronto.
Yes. The only thing I've seen about this, you're going to have to give me a breakdown, but I did see 4 Blue Jays currently lead the possession. 3?
3.
I thought it was 4.
3. Yeah, it's 3.
It's Vlad, Bo, Kirk, and I thought someone else too.
Yeah. So there's 4 who can make it in, 3 who likely will be in. All right.
3 who are currently in the league.
3 who are currently in, 4 who, you know what I mean. All right.
I got you.
First baseman. Vladimir is first place in votes with 947,000 votes.
Well, I guess so.
Yeah. We have Bo Bichette, first place for shortstop at 585,000 votes. The one that surprises me the most is Alejandro Kirk.
No.
First place for catchers.
Buddy, he is smacking ball. He's one of the best hitters, or has been for the past month, one of the best hitters in baseball. So
yeah, I know.
I kind of believe that. He's just, he's like small, chunky guy. He's like, in some ways, the quintessential baseball player, like not the evolutionary baseball player, but like in some ways the platonic ideal of a baseball player.
Alejandro
This is what
Kirk.
I want that's what I want my baseball players to look like. I want my whole team to look like Alejandro Kirk, 5'6", just kind of chubby, swatting the ball out of the park to all 3 places of the stadium.
Alejandro Kirk,
Taco.
he could replace one of us and no one would know the difference on this show.
What could you not love about that?
Oh,
I love me some Alejandro.
I'm a mark for him. I've always been a mark for him. You know what's funny about Alejandro Kirk? When Jason and Mike and I went to go watch the Jays game, I did everything in my power to get Jason to buy a Kirk jersey.
Nice. That would have been a good
this is
call.
when
Maybe he could be
This is
starting.
right before Kirk got super hot. So I'm like, dude,
Nice.
this guy's gonna do it. He's gonna be good. He's gonna be great. He's gonna just watch.
And
then,
man, like the reason why the Jays...
This was like a week or 2 after Alejandro Kirk tripped over second and got out.
Well, man, the reason why the Jays got him is because he had like apparently this amazing bat that people were just like, you got to see this hitter who's also a catcher. And he's just a little guy, but man, can he swing the bat? And it's turning out that he's translated those skills to the major league. This guy's got a crazy, crazy bat. He's an excellent hitter.
Dude, here's the thing about Blue Jays and catchers before we move on. Because we have one more name to get to. We have 3 amazing catchers. They're not necessarily the best catchers, but they each bring something different to the table. If you were the GM, who would you trade?
Are you talking about Kirk, Danny Jansen, and Gabriel Marino?
Correcto.
Okay. I think you have to trade Jansen, but he gives you the least value, right? So
Kirk is the one I would trade.
Well, Kirk, right now, you could probably sell very high on Alejandro Kirk and get a good starting pitcher, maybe. You got to get something back in return that you need if you trade Alejandro Kirk. I think that bat in the catcher position is just invaluable. He can also DH when you need him to, and you still have this Marino, and you also like I don't necessarily want to trade any. I think all 3 have their place on this team at this moment. If for some reason you had to trade one, I get your logic. You would get the most.
Every team in the major leagues, every GM, even the shittiest of GMs, know what the Blue Jays need.
Yep, of course.
That's the issue. That's the issue right now, right? It just sucks that I think out of the 3, it's kind of like a Tellez type of situation, you know, where he's going to give us the most bang for our buck at this point. And it sucks because I don't want to see him leave. But I do think that Alejandro Kirk will not be a Blue Jay come August 1st.
Oof.
Heard it here first.
That's bold, homie. By God, you did. You pointed into the camera and everything. You're serious about that one.
Yep. 100%. 100%. And I hate to say it. And it bothers me. It makes me sick. It makes me want to drink more.
Oh, nice. Well, that's a pretty good way to cap off sports talk. I think
there's
next
actually
week
one
we'll
more
talk.
name. That's George Springer, who's third place for the outfielders.
Oh, George Springer. Okay, I see. So he would. No, that's he. If he's third place for the outfielders, Boris, he's a starter.
Yeah, so
he's
that's why
a starter. So I was right.
Place.
There was 4 names.
I never disagreed with you. Do we have to pause, have a conversation, come back?
Yes, we do. No, we don't. We're fine.
No, we don't.
Anyway, I was gonna say the NBA draft is Thursday, so we are gonna cover that like postscript. I don't have really a mock draft or anything ready. Although it is worth noting, Boris, that for a year and a half we've been hearing about Chet Holmgren going number 1, and it looks like that's not the case anymore. It looks like Jabari Smith is going to go number 1 to the Orlando Magic. Chet Holmgren will fall probably to the Thunder at number 2. We'll see how it all shakes down, but the betting odds have flipped. Jabari Smith is now the favorite to go number 1 in the NBA draft.
Do you know why this has happened? Like, what's going on? What's the reasoning behind this?
I think it's just plain and simple. The team that won the lottery likes this player more than the other player, period. It's not like, oh, Chet Holmgren this, Chet Holmgren that. There are questions about Chet, obviously, which is why they like Jabari more. He's like a skinny guy, Chet Holmgren is. There's questions of whether or not he can create his own shot at the NBA level. But that, man, if he pans out to be the way you think he might, which is the ultimate stretch 5, a center who can guard the rim and shoot the 3, the way we wanted Kristaps Porzingis to be, maybe, right? That's who Chet Holmgren could be. And he doesn't necessarily need to create his own shot. He could be like the 3rd option on a championship team kind of guy, right? So maybe they think Jabari Smith is like a LeBron James or like number 1 banana, and that's what Orlando needs.
Kyrie Irving, where does he end up?
Oof, Knicks or Lakers. Probably, I'm guessing, somehow on your Lakers, and he's going to do one last Batman Robin thing with your boy LeBron James. Oh, you love it. You are literally gouging your own eyes out right now.
I don't understand the Lakers. I don't understand what they've done. Like, which LA team is worse off for the future, the Lakers or the Clippers?
Well, the Clippers still have, on paper, in theory, Kawhi Leonard. So the Lakers are worse off.
Who?
The Claw. He once won a championship in this fine city of ours.
I love how bitter we still are over that.
Well, if he would have stayed, we'd be 4-time champions. That's all I'm saying. Prove me wrong. All right. You can't tell me I'm wrong.
Before we move on from sports, I just want a yes/no answer to this. I don't want to get into it. It's just a yes/no. Does Deshaun Watson play a game this season?
Yes.
All right, let's move on.
Sadly, yes.
Let's move on.
Also, prove me wrong. All right, so we have 2 Impact Wrestling shows to talk about here entering Wrestling Chat. Do you want to start with the good one or the bad one?
Hold on. You use the term show vaguely on this. We have one show.
Yes.
And one something.
Oh, it was, a fever dream, an acid trip, a vile, disgusting mess with some actual good, innovative, interesting ideas in there, and something that deserved to die on the day it started, but somehow made it 20 years, Boris. Impact Wrestling.
All right, so where do you want to start? What are you thinking? What's in your gut of guts? What are you thinking?
Well, see, this is the thing. Like, I had a plan of watching the first 5 or 10 NWA TNA episodes, maybe even starting like a retro wrestling podcast, which I still might do. I still might start a retro pod here on SNME someday.
You created you a logo, you son of a bitch.
Oh, it's still there, buddy. I'm still gonna use it. But anyway, I just, at this moment, there's a lot of wrestling to watch for Bam and NXT Talk, and I can't time-wise start a 3rd podcast right now. But B, more importantly, I watched this first TNA show, and I have absolutely fucking zero desire to do this ever again. Life is too short. Life is just too short to watch this nonsense, man. So let's just talk about this. Let's get it out of the way.
Me after a horrible one-night stand. Hey-o.
Boy, is that why you're sick? What do you have right now, Boris? All right, let's go all the way back to June 19th, 2002. the Von Braun Civic Center in Huntsville, Alabama.
2002. 2002. So this is what, June of 2002. What grade were you in? 10?
I was in grade 10, yes. And I would actually, was I just finishing grade 10, I guess, in June of 2002? I believe, yeah, you might be right about that. Yeah, I think, yeah, you're right. I just did finish. Good call. Wow, you know my life better than I do. Finished it, yeah. And, yeah, just living life, living it up, man. Just listening to tunes, you know, City High. What would you do if your son was at home, crying all alone on the bedroom floor?
Well, locked door and all.
Oh, man.
So
it was a different time, though. I was just going to ask, how was your life in 2002?
My life was similar to this life. So basically, high out of my ass, I should say.
Oh, word? Okay.
Going into grade 12, a lot of pressure on me because I was, okay, so here in Ontario, we used to have a grade 13, which is seen as a preparatory grade before university. They cut that off literally in 2002. So I was a part of the first class that didn't have grade 13, or as we called it, OAC. Now, this graduating class of 2003 was double the size then. So it was double the people applying to university, double everything. I had this new curriculum of, you know, putting the 5 years in 4, and there was just so much pressure leading into this. So I knew in the back of my head that this was going to be the last summer I really had, and it really was, because in summer of 2003, I started working in the kitchen, never had time for anything, was going into university. So yeah, so this was like the last summer I honestly had 20 years ago, which is funny because I literally go to my nephew and I'm like, and I'm like, hey, Alex, this is the last summer you're going to have, so enjoy this summer.
That's both good uncling and a chilling, ruthless way to be an uncle.
Well,
but,
it's funny, you know, this is... It's similar to how I would treat a NXT call-up. Are you sure this is what you want?
Know what you're getting into, kid. But yeah, man, the summer of Boris, I love it. So did you spend the summer of Boris watching this show live? Did you see it live, or did you see it later? Did you see it? When did you first see this show, Boris?
2 days ago.
Oh my God.
Why would you do this to me? Why would you do this to me? You know what's funny?
Just be thankful I've called off the first 5.
Oh my God, do you understand how much beer would have been consumed if we actually had to do this show? But here's the thing about all of this, is I remember hearing about TNA on the law and kind of being curious, so much so that for our younger listeners who don't know, these were pay-per-view specials, $9.99 here in Canada on Viewer's Choice, pay-per-view, $9.99 every Wednesday, live. So I believe I ordered episode 5 was the first one I watched.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Interesting. So, yeah. So I did not watch it live. I did end up seeing TNA matches on the internet very early, like Kazaa and Napster downloading. I saw some X Division matches, but I had not seen a full live TNA show until I bought my first one, I believe in 2003 or 2004. I think we might have to watch number 5 when that comes along, because I did want to have my buddy Sully on, because I believe it was number 5 or 7 that he bought for the first time, and he has kind of a similar story. But it's weird because we were all kind of cheering for TNA to some extent, because this was about 18 months after WCW and ECW had folded. It was after the invasion ended by 6-7 months, and we had no other competition, really, no other anything. Ring of Honor had already started up, but it was just some indie. In the summer of 2002, it was an indie that had 4 shows. We had no idea what Ring of Honor was going to be, though it was an exciting concept and already was getting buzz. It was still a very, very small situation, right? So this on pay-per-view with all the big names who weren't signed to a major company, the major company, this was potentially pretty cool and interesting, and it did have some buzz.
Yeah, especially because when you see how the show ended, that particular wrestler wasn't seen since '99, right? So there was a lot of buzz. There was a lot of buzz with this show. It was, the competition, this is the first non-WWE produced big time show, right? So yeah, there was going to be a lot of buzz.
Yes. So downsides, it is just uncut, weapons grade Nicaraguan Vince Russo, Ed Ferrara. It is just like, they don't have a television filter on them. This is pay-per-view. So the show begins with Jeremy Borash, voice of TNA. He introduces us to Don West, and I believe Don West is the first face we actually see, which is very nice. We'll talk about it on the next show, but there's a very nice tribute to Don West, who is currently battling cancer. It was nice to see him. Then we see Ed Ferrara looking like the scummiest, skeeviest man who ever lived. White man dreadlocks, gross leather jacket. Ed Ferrara cracking TNA jokes on his way to the ring, and this is already really lowbrow.
Yep. Yeah, it started off just, like, wow. I am glad I never watched this episode, because if I actually saw this live, I would have been pretty upset.
Yeah, paying $10 for this at this moment, I would have been looking for a refund.
And we're looking at like an 18-year-old Boris. Like, let's remember this too. And even this was like disgusting for me. Like, this is just like, nah, man, this isn't cool.
Yeah, exactly. So, and it's just like gross, skeevy, like Ed Ferrara, ugh. You just like douche chills, as they say. Anyway, so we see the duality of TNA right away as Mike Tenay at ringside gives us a nice speech about the legends of wrestling who are in attendance, and, you know, professional wrestling will be restored, and the NWA World Heavyweight Championship and this and that. Jeremy Borash back to the ring, introduces all these legends who come out: Harley Race, Dory Funk Jr., Bullet Bob Armstrong, Jackie Fargo strutting his way to the ring, and of course, Boris, Corsica Joe. Joe.
Yep. Yep.
Then out comes Ricky Steamboat with the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, saying that basically tonight we will have a classic Vince Russo staple, Battle Royal, with a singles match at the end. It is the 20-man gauntlet for the gold. It is a Royal Rumble style Battle Royal, and the last two men will wrestle in a match. The winner is your NWA World Heavyweight Champion. So Jeff Jarrett comes out, says the main event will suck and is a bad idea, and starts basically shooting, quote unquote, on the legends. Jackie Fargo, you were never shit, blah, blah, blah. Dory Funk, did you ever win a world championship in a battle royal? This idea sucks. Out comes Ken Shamrock, a babyface, who agrees with the heel that the main event of this show that we paid $10 for will suck. Out comes Scott Hall through the crowd to a hero's welcome, the coolest guy on the show, who agrees that this match will suck. And we wasted our $10, essentially. The weirdest thing I've ever seen. 3 characters, a heel and 2 baby faces, come out and tell us that the main event that they just booked will suck.
Yep. It's funny because I feel like the logic... Remember, we're coming off of... And I don't know how I'm trying to justify this. We're coming off of an era where being a douche, where being negative, where being whatever was cool, right? Like, remember, Scott Hall and the NWO made being douchey cool. And the amount of time, if we were to go back and watch every episode of WCW Nitro and Thunder, I'm sure they made fun of their own product 1,001 times. So I'm sure that this was, you know, par for course.
It's true to some extent. I wonder if this was written or if it just was like, you guys go out and do your thing, and they all just felt that way. You know what I mean? But like, if this was a script that they were given, that's insane. I don't understand it at all, but that's how the first TNA show started. Right there.
May, are we done with this segment? Are we going to the back? Because I need to introduce
we're
this.
Going to the back.
To have the least hardest working reporter in all of professional wrestling, Goldilocks.
Interviewing little person wrestler Puppet, the Psycho Dwarf, who says that midgets, his words, are the true stars of wrestling, and all he wants is midget blood, his words. He heard TNA has brought in Tio and Hollywood, who are midget wrestlers, and then Jeff Jarrett walks by, angry because he's Jeff Jarrett, pissed off, if you will, because he's Jeff Jarrett. Don't piss him off. That's a bad thing to do. And Puppet the Psycho Dwarf is a little miffed at Jeff Jarrett. A seed planted for the future, Boris, by God.
The worst here in all of this was Goldilocks, again, making fun of the product almost by making faces as Psycho Dwarf is talking.
To be fair, she was talking to Puppet the Psycho Dwarf. So, oh man. Okay, so match number one.
We just uttered those words on a podcast.
Yes, we did. See, that's what I'm worried about, man. It is fun to talk about because it's so bad, but I actually have to sit there and watch this stuff to do this, and I don't like that 2 hours of my life being wasted. Anyway, match number one, the only good thing, the only great thing, the only thing worth watching on this entire show, unless you want to see the train wreck aspect of it, 6-man tag, AJ Styles, Low Key, and Jerry Lynn, the first 3 wrestlers we see on this wrestling show, versus the Flying Elvis impersonators of Jorge Estrada, Sonny Siaki, and Jimmy Wang Yang.
Yep. Estrada being the MVP of this match, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah. There were a lot of, like, all 6 people performed really well. This was a good Sonny Siaki performance. He's very, very sloppy.
Yeah.
Sonny Siaki usually sloppy, and if we watch more TNA, we will see that. But yeah, this was great. Everyone was awesome. The crowd was super duper into it. At this moment, if this was going to be the wrestling we saw on this show, it was like, okay, I can maybe deal with the absolute nonsense. Maybe they'll calm down. Maybe Vince Russo will get fired in 3 or 4 weeks and not come here back and forth on and off until 2011, Boris.
Mike Tenay in this match did a AJ Styles phenomenal job of just putting over the X division.
100%. 100,000%.
Like,
it's not about weight limits. It's about no limits, Boris.
Yeah, no limits is essentially exactly what he said. And, you know, man, can you imagine being Mike Tenay? Like, working your ass off, putting this stuff over as best as you can. Meanwhile, it's like, you know, dumpster fire all around you.
Literally, like, this is fine. Mike Tenay is the dog in the "this is fine" meme with the burning building around him, man. That's exactly what's happening. But this was a great match. This was the best thing on this show by a country mile. It was a little spotty, you know what I mean? It was a little bit of a spot fest, but it was exactly what the first match of TNA needed to be, and the crowd ate it up with a spoon. Great job by Mike Tenay and Don West, and Ed Ferrara basically shut the fuck up. So that was good too. 4 TNAs out of 5 for this. 4 total nonstop actions. 4 asylums out of 5, let's say. And if we did a top 102 of 2002, this would be on the list, Boris.
Yeah, right. So here's the thing. I'm moving on. After going in the ring and opening the show about respecting tradition, respecting legends, you know, this is all about professional wrestling. We got girls in cages, my friend.
Yeah, women dancing in cages. Like, women dancing in cages on your wrestling show. And not in, like, it didn't seem like a cool, like, chic, like 1960s, 70s Austin Powers thing. It seemed degrading.
This is
gross,
the stuff that, you know, we pay for on the weekends, right? Like, not we, it's just like the general
yes, exactly.
we. Like, it was just like...
This is lowbrow and cheesy, and it lasted for years. It made us all look gross, but that's what made it TNA, Boris. Match number 2, a midget match, their words, Hollywood versus Tio. Terrible, absolutely terrible wrestling match. Tio wins in 3 minutes. Picture a little person wrestling match in 3 minutes on a Vince Russo wrestling show. That's what this is. That's what this was.
Some would say, drum roll please, this was a short match also.
Looks like we made it. Boris, you did it, buddy. I'm proud of you in this moment. We'll give it 1 star because it wasn't embarrassing to wrestling. And believe me, many things on this show were embarrassing to wrestling. This was simply very bad pro wrestling. 1 asylum out of 5 for this one. Speaking of very bad and embarrassing, just cringe-worthy, awful stuff. Ed Ferrara, the sleaziest man I have ever seen with my own eyes, and Don West in a Hawaiian shirt who looks like James Bond next to this guy are out to announce a lingerie battle royal for next week. It was sad to see Daphne out here doing this nonsense, knowing how her TNA career went. Like, actually, like, my heart kind of sank seeing Daphne out here. But the names were Daphne, Francine, a woman named Joni, Mickey James, Alexis Luray, and then a woman named Sasha, a woman named Erin, a woman named Elektra, who I have never seen before, Taylor Vaughn, who was the former BB in WWF. So this was a terrible promo. Ed Ferrara just being grotesque and cringy as all hell. There's a cat fight. Somebody accuses Francine of single-handedly causing ECW to go out of business, which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard on a wrestling show.
That was Elektra. Yep.
Bottom of the barrel, dirt, worst garbage here. Just absolutely pathetic attempt at entertainment. It ends with Francine promising to be crowned the first ever Miss TNA next week. God save me.
Yeah, let's move on.
To the back, Boris, and it's your girl Goldilocks with Mortimer Plumtree. So God bless him, he tried. He is a heel manager, so he introduces us to his tag team named the Johnsons.
Who were his former... You got to get the story. Got to get the background, my friend. His former childhood bullies turned wrestlers.
Yes, so these guys used to torment him in school, and now, for some reason, Mortimer Plumtree is in control of these men, and I guess to humiliate them, he is making them dress up and name themselves after cocks, for lack of a better term. These men's gimmick is that they are penises. So the Johnsons are two very jacked men in like skin-tight bodysuit, flesh-colored bodysuit. They are the Johnsons. They are indeed the Johnsons, Boris.
You know, I'm going to stop you right there. And I'm going to say, I will never criticize NXT 2.0 this much. And I know I'm going to eat these words tonight.
Oh man, that's what I mean. Like it's kind of good to watch this because it'll make us like NXT 2.0 more because
it gives you appreciation of just how bad Russo
wrestling can
was.
be.
Yeah.
Russo was, and how bad this medium, this art form, quote unquote, could be. There's nothing artistic about this. They tried to work a wrestling match, but it was the announcers cracking dick jokes the whole time. The Johnsons defeat. Listen to these two names that the Johnsons defeat on the first TNA pay-per-view. The Johnsons
Richard, aka Dick, and Rod Johnson.
Yes, Richard Johnson, aka Dick Johnson, and Rodney Johnson, aka Rod Johnson's defeat Lucha Libre legend Psychosis, Nicho El Millonaro, and the Cowboy James Storm, who still appears wrestling in TNA to this day. Boris, did you see the Johnsons on Slammiversary last night? I did not.
I saw many Johnsons, but not these Johnsons.
Absolutely dirt worse. The only question is how many negative stars to give this. Was this -1 star, which in my opinion, our opinion here at BAM, is simply embarrassing to wrestling, or was this -5 stars, one of the worst things you've ever seen in your life?
I think my joke is going to make it -1 stars because some would say Psychosis and James Storm found the Johnsons too hard to defeat.
You're just doing Ed Ferrara. Now you're just doing Ed Ferrara. No, I love it, Boris. Sometimes, we're not actually on the show calling
I'm all about low-hanging fruit.
Amen. Yeah. So we're going to go -1 star because honestly, I do think I've seen worse than the Johnsons in professional wrestling, arguably to come on this show.
To come on this show, all right. And also, some would even say the climax. This match climaxed prematurely. Hey-o.
Oh, no.
I'm getting a beer.
Oh, no. We're going to have to review this whole fucking program, aren't we? We're going to have to continue this. Oh, God, we're having too much fun. No, I won't spend 2 hours a day. Oh, not a day, but a week watching this. Anyway, moving on. Goldilocks, your girl, backstage with the Dups. The Dups. One of these Dups, Stand Up, would go on to be Trevor Murdoch. Somehow this gimmick is even grosser and more hick than Trevor Murdoch. So the Dups drink beer, but someone, Bill Barons, namely, comes backstage and tells them they can't drink. They can't drink on this wrestling show. So that's always good because it's not like Stone Cold Steve Austin was popular in 2002 or anything. Pretty good idea here for TNA.
June of 2002. Funny enough, wasn't that when Austin like walked out?
I believe it was in the middle of his walkout.
Yeah.
Maybe this was trying to get Austin in.
Yeah.
So the Dups are literally, and I say this with all the grace I can muster, cousin fucking hillbillies. That is their gimmick.
Yep.
They are incest, and one of them eats his own boogers on the way to the ring. That is the Dups. We will see a lot of the Dups over the coming weeks if we continue this, which we won't. I refuse to.
Oh, I almost want to just for my low-hanging fruit jokes.
Yeah, right. So in the ring, a vile segment.
Oh.
Two NASCAR drivers, Hermie Sadler and Sterling Martin, come out to the ring. Alabama crowd loves them. That's not the vile part. So
I thought it was.
out comes K Crush, who runs down the two NASCAR drivers, and the words "my kind" and "your kind" get exchanged liberally here.
Can we tell people who K Crush is?
K Crush is our truth. Ron
Yes.
Killings, Ron the Truth Killings, K Crush, the former K Quick in WWE. Now, he actually got a little bit of a push here, and I kind of get what they were going for, but this was the wrong kind of heat because the NASCAR drivers respond to K Crush saying they aren't athletes by saying you're not an athlete because of the way you look.
Yep.
You come into the ring dressed like that and looking like that, and you pretend to be a professional athlete, which is just a grotesque, disgusting thing to say to try to get cheers and to successfully get those cheers. So of everything on this show, I think this may be the least comfortable. This was like, this is just absolute garbage. On the plus side, it's setting up like K Crush was given a script. This is, you know what I mean? Entertainment, using that word loosely, but still, I can't believe that they scripted it like this in front of these Alabama fans, and the Alabama fans ate it up like a spoon with a spoon. So, and possibly the worst, most offensive part of all of this, in a way, is that Brian Christopher runs down, making the quote-unquote save, attacking K Crush, and siding with the NASCAR drivers, and then Brian Christopher being the fakest like white black guy of all time, like doing the worst, you know, Brian Christopher's gimmick, the worst Eminem, the worst Vanilla Ice. What is this guy? You know, but Brian Christopher in character calling out K Crush, basically doing a black guy saying, "Get out of here, black guy," right? Like what the hell was this segment? What the fuck did they put on pay-per-view? What are we watching?
Yeah, this is something that happened.
Insanity, absolute insanity. And this sets up a match between NASCAR driver and R-Truth. Ironically, the whole rub here was that TNA was going to have a NASCAR car in the NASCAR series, but this guy Hermie Sadler didn't, or Sterling Martin was it? I don't know, whatever, maybe both, maybe neither. Nobody qualified for the NASCAR season. So these guys, unfortunately, were not good enough to actually make it worth TNA's while.
Didn't Mike Sanders, like in the next couple weeks, lose to someone notable from F1 or NASCAR or some shit like that?
I'm sure, yeah. Both of these guys wrestled a fair bit in the coming weeks.
Yeah.
So it's to the back where Jeff Jarrett is just beating the shit out of Jackie Fargo, randomly just choking this old man. And then back to the ring where we have our fourth match of the night. Christian York and Joey Matthews, former ECW tag team, couple good guys, versus Stand Up and Bowed Up with their cousin / girlfriend Fluffed Up.
Fluffed up. Fluffed up.
Cousin fucking gravy sweating, nose picking, booger eating hillbillies. And they win the match in 4 minutes, defeating Christian York and Joey Matthews. At least -1, possibly -5. This one, honestly, this one's closer. This one was this. I hated this more than the Johnsons. I really did.
Here's the thing about this match. This is why I hated it more. And this just goes to show you that like Vince Russo never had any idea of booking. You get two absolutely ridiculous tag team matches right back to back.
Yeah, that's a good point too. I didn't even think of that.
I love how we're trying to bring logic into this shit.
Hat upon a hat upon a hat. So yeah, so as long as we're, you know, like really in the hick here, this is an Alabama show where Stand Up and Bowed Up just won. We get a country music concert from Toby Keith, somehow less hick than the thing we just saw. But Toby Keith, it's a Toby Keith concert. He's a professional musician doing a good job. And Jeff Jarrett interrupts it mid-song and the concert ends. That's the end of the Toby Keith concert because we must put over Stone Cold Jeff Jarrett even more, Boris. We must show you that this is the most badass, coolest guy in the history of wrestling. Jeff Jarrett.
Who started this company again?
Jerry Jarrett and Jeff Jarrett, I believe it was.
Oh my God, this is just insane. Look, here's the thing, and okay, let's have a serious conversation if we can. I understand, like, they're really trying hard to get that WCW Southern crowd, right? It's obvious.
Yes.
It's obvious, but at the same time, it's like they're mocking them at the same time, and this is where like the Vince Russo effect comes in, right?
Exactly. Russo is openly mocking the Southern wrestling. That's so well put. That's exactly what it is.
Because like one thing is doing this stuff, having some of these characters, but then you literally have fucking cousins. Not fucking cousins, fucking cousins.
Quite literally.
Yeah, and there's other stuff throughout this show, and it's like, you know, and then going back, like I said earlier, you're trying to respect wrestling, respect tradition, and then you do all this stuff. It's like, how are you trying to garner the Southern conservative wrestling viewer to watch your stuff?
Absolutely mind-blowing. I don't get it. I do not understand it for the life of me.
Yep. This leads to some more women dancing in cages.
Yes, yeah. Jeff Jarrett does get on the mic after interrupting Toby Keith because he's got to like not only show us but tell us that he's a badass. He's going to win the world title. Toby, no one wants to see you or hear your music. So yes, women dancing in cages, gauntlet for the gold, the fake ass Royal Rumble, Vince Russo style. So 90-second intervals. They did have the full 90-second clock on the corner, which I did think was interesting. It makes more sense
than a reverse battle royal. So like, I will give them this credit. I will give them credit for this. Because that reverse battle royal, I always forgot how horrible those were until Slammiversary's pre-show.
And it was bad. All right, so we'll quickly kind of go through this whole thing quick. So number one, Jeff Jarrett, because he's the coolest, baddest ass that has ever lived. Number two, Buff Bagwell. Buff is the stuff. Fresh off being disgraced from WWE, kicked off Monday Night Nitro / Raw from his terrible Booker T match. So Jarrett eliminates Buff in 30 seconds. Shit houses this guy, makes him look terrible.
Entrant number 3 is someone who was I honestly thought he deserved a better career.
Yeah, absolutely. He was a little bit underrated. Lash LaRue comes to the ring, number 3. Literally does not get a single offensive move in. Gets the shit beaten out of him. Stroke, tossed out of the ring like a
Now, when we say stroke, we mean the finisher. We have to be specific with this show.
We actually do, yes. Jeff Jarrett's finishing move, known as the stroke, also Miz's skull-crushing finale, essentially. It's a little different, but it's basically the same move.
And then number 4. The living legend himself. We'll see him later tonight interrupting and trying to break up a fight, I'm sure.
Norman Smiley. 2 guesses for how this one went. Stroke, get the fuck out of here. Number 5, we have Apollo, who's a big ass dude.
Yep. He's from Puerto Rico.
Yeah, so he actually lasted in this match, the first guy to not get thrown out by Stone Cold Jeff Jarrett. Number 6, K-Crush, the man who should have won this battle royal.
Yep, agreed, but here we are.
All right, number 7, Slash with Father James Mitchell. Number 8, Del Rios, who was a fake Scott Steiner, basically.
Yep.
Number 9, Justice. the future Abyss was in this battle royal.
Yeah. It's so funny because I never would have thought, not never thought, but I completely forgot that he was a thing. And he reminds me for Dax, who listens to this show, Street Fighter, Third Strike, Hugo.
Nice. I have no idea what you're talking about, but
Just
very
look him
good.
up. Just do a quick search. Just do a search really quick at some point. You'll see. It was basically the same character.
Nice. Looking like a young rhino. Number 10, Conan, who he's looking jacked, hitting that cycle pretty good. So Conan.
This is like, you know what the sad part is, and this is honestly how I looked at this show. Oh, Conan's here, like 3 hip surgeries ago.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he takes a bump for a chokeslam a little later, which that was very clear. Number 11, Bruce of the Rainbow Express, introduced by Joel Gertner.
Yep.
Good heavens.
Yep, that was a thing.
So yeah, in Alabama, gay people are heels. That's the way that goes. Number 12, Rick Steiner. So we actually injected a little bit of life into this thing, which was nice. Rick with 1K Steiner. Rick Breaker, if you will, Braun Breaker Sr. He eliminates Slash and Abyss, a.k.a. Justice. Next, it's the Wall. It's the Wall, brother. Malice at number 13. This guy is just terrible. He combines the worst parts of Sid and Sheamus to make the most disgusting, gross. He's like Sid plus Sheamus with Nathan Frazier's haircut.
I say Van Hammer and Aleister Black. Not the talent.
Yeah, no, sir. But kind of the look. Yeah, I love it. So Malice chokeslams the shit out of everyone. Conan takes the worst chokeslam I have ever seen in my life. Pat Patterson and Jerry Briscoe routinely took better chokeslams than this. Malice eliminates Bruce. He eliminates Truth. He eliminates our friggin' Truth. The Wall, brother, eliminates our Truth from this. Get the fuck out of here. Eliminates fake Scott Steiner Del Rio. Eliminates real Rick Steiner. And eliminates Conan.
Yeah.
Number 14, Scott Hall.
I love how they kept calling him the Outlaw.
Yeah, man. Looking at the list, the motley crew of shithead jabronis that have been in this match, Scott Hall looked like Ric Flair, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Hulk Hogan rolled into one. I said R-Truth should have won this thing. Maybe Scott Hall should have won this thing. Just put the NWA title on him and say he's finally. I know he was a fuck up, but he looked like $1 million a year. They should have given him the first title, I think. Him or Truth. That should have been the final of this battle royal. Truth versus Scott Hall.
Speak for yourself. Entrant number 15 should have won the entire thing.
Wildcat Braden Walker, your boy. So yeah, Braden Walker did not last very long in this one. Chris Harris, Braden Walker.
As he comes out, everyone thinks it's Toby Keith.
It is not Toby Keith. Yeah, because when his entrance hit, Toby Keith, that's when Toby Keith comes out to eliminate J Squared, Double J, Jeff Jarrett. So Toby Keith and Jeff Jarrett, that feud's continuing. And unfortunately, Braden Walker was in the Battle Royal, not Toby Keith.
Yep. All right.
Yes. Chris Harris, number 15. Number 16, Gangrel, known as the Vampire Warrior in this one. So that's okay. I like Gangrel. It was nice to see Gangrel. I'm okay.
You know what's crazy? He looks in better shape now than he did on this show.
In 2002. You're so right. He does, man. Yeah, he was looking a little rough in 2002. I think he was released in early 2000 from WWE.
Yep. You know what's crazy? Like Scott Hall, this is June, right? He was released, May? Earlier, like just a couple months before, like a month before. And it was pretty recent. He does not look good in this match. Like, wow.
It's so funny that you say that because he doesn't look like Razor Ramon, but he still looks so much better than everyone else. But I agree. Like he was looking, you could see the wear and tear.
Yeah. There's also wear and tear on the next entrant, Devin Storm.
Devin Storm, one of the forgotten men of the Monday Night Wars. Crowbar, Extreme Warfare Revenge standout, Devin Storm. Yes, he was number 17. Number 18, our boy here on BAM, Steve Corino. He could have gotten more play. I wouldn't have kicked him out of bed if he was the world champion. Number 19, Ken Shamrock Sideburns. Also Ken Shamrock.
I love the sideburns that he sported here.
Oh my God. Crazy sideburns for the world's most dangerous man.
It's like he's trying to be the Rock or something.
And not succeeding, Boris. Number 20, Brian fucking Christopher. Fucking Christopher. Brian Christopher goes on a huge run because I guess he's the baby face that we're pushing on this show. Brian Christopher eliminates Chris Harris and Devin Storm and Gangrel and Steve Corino. Eat shit. No.
The final four for episode 1 of what became Impact 20 years later was Malice, Scott
The
Hall,
Wall, brother.
Apollo, and Ken Shamrock.
Unbelievable. So yeah, Ken Shamrock eliminated Brian Christopher to give us the final four of Apollo, The Wall, aka Malice, Scott Hall, and Ken Shamrock. Malice eliminates Apollo, fellow giant stiff, and Malice eliminates Scott Hall, which I was not a fan of. And of course, Scott Hall went for the razor's edge by the ropes. Why would you do it, Scott? Of course he was going to backdrop you over the top ropes.
Yep, that's a thing.
So that's the Battle Royal portion. That leaves us with Ken Shamrock versus Malice, a.k.a. The Wall, for the NWA Championship.
And who was the special guest referee?
Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
This is like a, you know what this honestly felt like watching this? Living in Littletown, USA or Littletown, Canada, and going to an indie show with all these names of, formerly known as or whatever, right? Like,
yeah, man.
This show was just so weird.
Except you got a Toby Keith concert in the middle for some reason. But yeah, so weird. So these guys went 5 minutes. They tried hard. I was actually impressed at how good Shamrock was looking. Like, he was looking like a confident worker. You could tell that they were going to put the world title on him just in the way that this match went in the brief period it did. And yeah, Shamrock wins with, what was it, his belly-to-belly suplex that he used from time to time. Pins The Wall, brother, Malice. Weird match. Overall, I would say, like, it wasn't the worst Royal Rumble I had seen. Not good in any way. Let's go 2 asylums out of 5 for the whole package.
Here's a little bit of irony. Is this irony? I don't know what I'll tell you and people can decide. What I love about this is that this is Ken Shamrock winning the title that Dan Severn vacated.
Interesting. I hadn't even thought of that. That is a little good note there. Yeah, man. So if I would have paid $10 for this, I never again. Absolutely never
love
again.
About this? Because you couldn't let your new NWA champion celebrate. How does the show actually end?
I just closed my notes and I've blocked it out of my memory. Boris, take it away.
All right, so after the match, Fargo and Keith come down to the ring. They say that Scott Hall's going to be fighting Jeff Jarrett next week. Hall comes down, Jarrett comes down, and they brawl to close the show. So you don't even have your new NWA champion celebrating to end the show. It is Scott Hall and your owner, Jeff Jarrett.
Yes, Stone Cold Jeff Jarrett. Thank you. Yeah, I actually forgot but they brought him back out to close the show because they had more time. I don't know why they rushed the Shamrock Malice match. Could have give them 5 more minutes, but no, man. Yeah, Jeff Jarrett came back out to brawl with Scott Hall some more.
Say what you want about Cody Rhodes. When he was in EVP, he didn't do this.
Never has been. Never ever was close to this bad. So yeah, that is the absolute terror, the indigenous burial ground that Impact Wrestling has been built on. This is terrible. And maybe for fun we'll do a couple more, but I really just don't want to dedicate 2 hours of my life to watching this terrible shit. Just bad, just disgusting.
Yep. Oh man.
I'm sweating my balls off. I need a break. I need to go refill my water. I was fired up for that.
Taking a short break. I have another beer. I coughed up a lung, it seems. Like I'm still tearing from all the coughing. How are you doing, Matt?
And from the Johnsons. I'm doing much better. I toweled my face off.
All the
not
Johnsons
because of the Johnsons.
And around my mouth.
Oh, Lord in heaven. No, I've got a refill of water here, and I'm ready to talk a little wrestling news. Let's break up these 2 wrestling shows with a little bit of news. Kushida is back.
Kushida is back. let's celebrate a little. You know what's cool? It's the fact that actually not cool. I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, earlier today in the road to shows of New Japan Pro Wrestling after the main event, should we spoil the main event for people?
No, we'll talk about it later.
All right. So there was a good match for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight match. When the match ended, Kushida comes out and he confronts the champion, and he essentially says, "I'm here, bitches."
Yes, I will retire in a New Japan ring. And the match was, Taiji Ishimori versus Hiromu Takahashi. Apparently a really good match. Kushida is back, and he's gunning for that junior title again.
Which is interesting, just because, the whole thing was he left because he didn't want to be in that division anymore.
I feel you, but the grass is always greener. He went over, he saw what NXT 2.0 was, and it doesn't mean that he's going to spend the rest of his career here. It's just where he's starting.
Yeah, here's the thing. Well, that's number one, right? Let's get a huge match, because the person he's going to face, I believe, they're going to have a fantastic match. Number two of note is he was talking afterwards, and he says that he still lives in the States, but he will move from Orlando to Los Angeles and make all the dates as he has to. So this opens him up to be on New Japan Strong a lot as well.
Exactly right. And I think that's probably where he would do a lot of his best work. He would have a lot more fresh opponents, maybe chances to win the tag team title if he gets a partner, whatever it could be. So
Filthy Tom Lawler versus Kushida.
Oh, man.
Just give me that match right now.
Hook it to my veins. Yeah, man. We both love Kushida's work. Thought he got a raw deal.
Chris Dickinson versus Kushida. Hook that to my veins.
Oh, dude. I'll watch Moxley versus Kushida.
I was literally going to say that. The next blood sport, Moxley versus Kushida.
Oh, my God. Let's do it. Kushida versus Biff Busick. We saw it in NXT, and it ruled. How about with the shackles off?
Exactly.
So,
I'm so happy for him. I'm so happy for him. Look, I'm not going to shit on WWE or NXT. Stuff happens, right? He took a gamble on himself. Well, you just tranquilo. He took a gamble on himself, right? And good, you got to give him credit to do that. Things didn't work out. Things changed, unfortunately. And he's back, right? And then I think that's, dude, whatever, man. He got a good payday when he was out here.
Do we? I don't know. Yeah, you're probably right. But yeah, no, sorry to Pierre Maguire you there. I just had to do that bit.
You totally did Pierre Maguire me.
I straight up Pierre. You never.
All the Maguires.
You never want to Pierre Maguire someone. You never want to Pierre Maguire. No, man. Sorry. I was just messing with you though. Big homie. But, yeah, do you have anything else? I guess we could. Well, I don't want to sit here and read the entire G1 schedule, but the G1 schedule is out. We're gonna go through every match as they happen on BAM. So I'm not gonna sit here and read the whole schedule.
I love the fact that we had a plan. You'll take one block, I'll take the other block. Then when they announce 4 blocks, it's like, okay, we'll pick 2 blocks each and watch those matches. And of course, New Japan has to every night have one match from every block. Which
at least sometimes there's 6 matches and like some blocks have 2. It's all mishmash together, but there's at least one match per block in every show.
I kind of like that because it adds intrigue, right? It's like, okay, if this person wins, I'm gonna have to wait until tomorrow to find out the latest standings.
Yeah, so it is interesting in that way. It would be good. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to follow. If you're going to actually sit there and watch every show as it progresses, it might be more interesting to follow this way. We'll see. But yeah, man, it's less matches overall, which is nice. But it's the mishmash of matches together, the schedule. It's kind of weird. There are some really good nights, and there's some like kind of skippable nights.
Yeah, there really are. And overall, look, I'm sure you've seen some of the posts. People are underwhelmed by the G1 this year. I'm looking forward to it. I think there's a good mix. I think Jonah is going to have a fabulous tournament. Filthy Tom Lawler, I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Lance Archer, super over. He's like Scott Norton over in New Japan right now. I think it's going to be a fine tournament. At the end of the day, we're closer we get to it, we'll do a full preview, full breakdown, plus predictions, and we'll get to it. And that's all we're going to talk about the G1. because we have one more thing to get to on this fine episode of BAM from June the 21st, 2022. And that is the 20th anniversary of that whatever we watched.
Whatever we watched.
Slammiversary.
Impact Slammiversary 2022, Sunday, June 19th, live on pay-per-view, Boris. A good show. I saw some people say it was show of the year. Would you go that far?
I wouldn't go that far. You know what? I would bump it up. The overall star rating of this show, I would bump it up by half a Dixie Carter for the simple fact that it was a 3-hour show.
Highly enjoyable, digestible show, and probably the best match finished it. It ended with a high, ended on a peak. You could argue, we'll get into it, obviously. I thought there were 3 great matches on this show. Easy to watch, 3-hour wrestling pay-per-view. I could definitely hear an argument that this was the best start-to-finish wrestling show I've seen all year. I really could. I honestly could hear that argument. Possibly, too, I watched this immediately after I watched the first TNA show back, and that was such a goddamn abomination that this just felt like so nice to watch this show. It felt like they actually made something good out of this terrible product that they started with, right? They somehow molded the ball of clay.
That's the thing, right? Like, in a weird way, it kind of shows you the evolution of TNA, right? Like, you know, I guess the heyday of TNA was, 2008 to 2012?
Yeah, like, it was like in between Russo stints. I think it's around that time, yeah. Like 06 to 09, maybe, something like that.
Basically, right before Bruce Pritchard took over.
Yeah. I think like 05, 06 to 08, 09. I think that's what it is.
You know, like, and then it just became that company that everyone just assumed would eventually close. And honestly, if you're not watching TNA, if you're not watching Impact, I should say, just go out of your way, watch one show. It's so enjoyable. They're doing so much right. Yeah, they do TNA-isms. And there's a couple things from the show that felt like Vince Russo booking stuff for the sake of Vince Russo booking stuff. But we'll get into that. Honestly, I really enjoyed this show. One of the more entertaining shows of the year. Is it the best for Boris? It is not, but I do give them half a Dixie Carter extra for the simple fact that the show started at 8 and was done by 11 p.m. Eastern.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Yeah, an enjoyable, quick, easy watch. It felt shorter than the 2-hour, $10 pay-per-view from 2002.
Yep.
It
and
felt
even
shorter
with the pre-show, even with the pre-show, even with the reverse battle royal, this show wasn't too bad.
The Reverse Battle Royal was fun because they openly made fun of it. So yeah, our pre-show started. Rich Swann versus Brian Myers for the Digital Media Championship. Rich Swann wins. Your basic average match, but Rich Swann, good wrestler. This was a fine opener.
Brian Myers. You know, I hate talking about wrestlers in this way. I have zero time for this guy now. Like, he's just not good.
It feels like he's phoning it in a little bit. I don't know. It's not, I don't know.
Like, there's something about him, right? Like, when he's with Matt Cardona, he's got like a little extra pep. But when ever since Cardona got injured, it's just, I don't know, it's just like, he feels lost, right? And one thing that I do want to say about this match is Rich Swann is so effing good. He is so talented. But it's insane to see how far he's fallen since April of last year.
Yeah, he was
eventing with Kenny Omega.
And now he's jerking the curtain of the pre-show on Slammiversary.
Which isn't a bad thing. I'm not saying being the pre-show is a bad thing. But, dude, it's a digital media championship.
He's fallen, man. You can't argue it. I mean,
with Willie Mack, unfortunately, I feel like there was like some plans with Willie Mack and him, but when Willie Mack left, it's like, okay, now what do we do?
I think you're right.
And then when Cardona got injured, it's like, okay, now what do we really do? Because I honestly could have seen Rich Swann show up in NWA.
For sure. And Rich Swann versus Matt Cardona is a pretty high-profile feud for Rich Swann. Certainly more so than jerking the old curtain on the pre-show.
With Brian Myers.
Kurt Hawkins, ya boy. So yeah, 2.5 Dixies for this one. Rich Swann wins with his 450 off the middle rope. Always impressive.
Okay match.
Yeah. Mendoza line, 2.5. Not an okay match, terrible really, but not without its charm. Fun for what it was. The reverse battle royal, the rules of the reverse battle royal. Absolute fuck ton. An unnamed amount of wrestlers start outside the ring. They fight to get into the ring. Once 8 wrestlers have made it into the ring, the match, quote unquote, begins. Kind of like War Games, the match beyond.
8?
It's only 8. It took them that long for 8 douchebags to make their way into that ring. But yeah, so it's once 8 people are in the ring, that's when the battle royal starts. And typical Russo style, the battle royal gets down to 2 people and it becomes a singles match. And that's how the reverse battle royal works. The winner is the person who wins that singles match. So the highlight of this whole thing by far was 72-year-old Action Mike Jackson doing the old school and literally walking on the guardrail halfway across the ring. Not an exaggeration. He started at the entranceway and walked halfway across the ring. This took, 5 minutes?
Dude, I can't even do that now.
Oh, God, no, probably not. And yeah, 72-year-old Action Mike Jackson, very impressive, doing the old school, literally halfway across the ring. It was just funny because 7 people were in the ring for the reverse battle royal. And the person that Mike Jackson was doing this to, I believe, who was it? Was it Gujar? Was it Bundaper Gujar that he was doing it to? He was doing it to somebody who actually was in the final 8. So everyone had to sit there and wait for Action Mike Jackson to finish his spot, which was hilarious. Like I said, this was a bad match anyway.
Okay. I have to honestly say, in the back of my mind, Fever Dream Boris on Neocitrin and other stuff, all I could think in my mind was Mandelbaum.
Oh, I love it. It's so funny. I was thinking of Martin Short in Arrested Development. I forget his name, but the Jack LaLanne knockoff. It was Malabai Shira who took this, by the way. That's who it was, and he was in the final 8. So the final 8 was Mahabali Shira, Bundaper Gujar, Chase Stevens, Chris Bay, David Young, and Johnny Swinger, and Shark Boy, TNA Originals, and, of course, your boy, the Forgotten Son, Steve Macklin. So that 8 again: Bundaper Gujar, Chase Stevens, Chris Bay, David Young, Johnny Swinger, Shark Boy, Shira, and Steve Macklin. So that is your battle royal. It ends your final 3: David Young, Johnny Swinger, and of course the Shark Boy with a big old gut full of chum. Shark Boy these days.
He's looking more like Evil Uno than Shark Boy.
That's funny. Was that Evil Uno under the costume? It may have been. But yeah, so it ends with Johnny Swinger throwing Shark Boy over the top rope to quote unquote win this battle royal. But the thing is, once it's down to the final 2, Boris, it's not a battle royal. So even the wrestlers in this match, in storyline, the match is too confusing and they don't know the fucking rules, which I actually liked. At this point, they're making fun of themselves. They're poking fun. They're winking the nod.
That you said Johnny Swinger throws out Shark Boy
in 2022 on pay-per-view.
Fuck.
That's true though. That's what happened.
This is $10 I would pay for.
Right? This is good cheesy in wrestling. At least there's not open racism and sexism and women dancing in cages and puppet small people pulling guns on people. Anyway, Shark Boy re-enters the ring, hits the Stunner, aka the Chummer, and Shark Boy wins the reverse battle royal.
Yep.
MVP of the match, 72-year-old man.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Like, how can it not be? And then it's Shark Boy. Like, I think we I wanted Shark Boy in another match, but we got him here. I'm happy we saw Shark Boy.
Yeah, definitely. I'm okay with Shark Boy. I loved him in his day. So we get to the pay-per-view. Awesome opening video package focused on the birth of TNA wrestling. Again, made this terrible, vile company look like it was something special.
Yeah, this was really cool. This was so well produced. I got to give whoever's producing these videos right now is just killing it.
100% agree. Yeah, they're doing a very good job on Impact with a lot of things these days. Way better than they used to. So our opening contest, great match. One of three great matches on this show. Ultimate X, Ace Austin, your champion, versus Alex Zane, former NXT superstar, versus Andrew Everett, versus Kenny King, versus Trey Miguel, our boy here on the podcast, versus our other boy, new X Division champion, Speedball Mike Bailey, who wins a banger of a match. Just a wild spot fest.
This match was absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Here's the one thing, though. Speedball Mike Bailey, slow down a little bit sometimes. Like, you're going to kill someone. Who was it? Oof. Everett, that he just gave the knee right to the face?
Yeah. Andrew Everett ate a knee in this one. Yeah, there was an amazing. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it looked great, but Andrew Everett was in the match for whom again?
Jack Evans, who had hurt himself at a GCW show the night before. We hope Jack Evans is okay. Yeah, he injured his neck on a 630 splash, I believe. Oof. Yeah, if you see, that's definitely what happened because I saw the GIF. It looked like a very scary landing for Jack, but hopefully he's okay. He definitely had no business being in an Ultimate X match the day after that, though. Yeah,
exactly. Oh, it's crazy, man. But like, this match was so good. Complete spot fest. But this is how I knew the show would end at 11. Short, to the point, and impactful.
Absolutely, though. But like, it did land. Like, there was crazy. I believe it was a middle rope Canadian destroyer. Just did all these amazing spots. Mike Bailey did the AJ Styles style, like backflip while holding on to the cables into a double knee spot onto all of his opponents. There was a crazy Tower of Doom. I hate the Tower of Doom personally. I'm done with Tower of Doom spots. Don't need to ever see them again, but it feels like they almost have to do it at this point. And yeah, Mike Bailey wins 9 minutes and 50 seconds. This match went the perfect length. Some crazy spots. I would say it was great. 4 Dixies out of 5 at least.
Yep, at the very least. This match was so good. I was really hyped for the show at this point.
Yeah, big time. Backstage, we get Scott Hudson, which was fun. He's with the Impact Originals team, the Motor City Machine Guns, Frankie Kazarian, and Nick Aldis, ya boy. So Scott Hudson tries to get who the 5th man will be, but they don't tell him.
Here's the thing about this promo. Frankie Kazarian broke every rule about being a face.
Oh, what do you mean?
Like, he's like making fun of the other team, and then he's like, fair. By the way, the Celtics just lost to the Warriors, like making fun of sports teams. It's like,
fair.
It was funny. It was funny.
Make shade on Boston. That's true. Yeah, I liked it. I like Frankie Kazarian.
I did. It was good. It's honestly so good seeing the Motor City Machine Guns. Even Nick Aldis. Like, I like the fact that they considered him Nick Aldis. It's like, it's not like WWE, where when someone comes back, they are the character that they were when they were in WWE, right? Like, it's always going to be Diesel, not Kevin Nash. It's always going to be, Double J, Jeff Jarrett, not like, Slapnuts, Jeff Jarrett.
And for the best on that one, but I know exactly what you mean, yeah. Kind of to that point, somebody who was a weird WWE creation, Sting. It's Sting! And he's shown, there's a lot of these throughout the show, TNA legends kind of showing their love to TNA. There was a really cool one later, but yeah, Sting praising his time with TNA Wrestling, shouting them out for letting him do the Joker character, which your mileage may have varied on, but I liked it for what the Joker character was. Fun video here.
You know what? Here's the thing. I have never been a Sting fan. I will never be a Sting fan. He can jump off any balcony. I don't care. I will not be his fan. But
harsh.
The longevity of his career has been impactful. I'm going to make this joke like 1,000 more times, so just calm down, everyone.
I see that.
Because he's always been able to take something and freshen it up, right? Like the Joker, when he did this, Dark Knight was super popular, and he's just always been good at doing that, right? It's similar to Jericho and how he's always been able to stay relevant.
Absolutely, yeah. Reinventing himself. Yeah, maybe you could argue not really doing that right now, but he's a legend. He isn't at this point. He's there to be Sting, the legend. So
Sting
that's fine.
doesn't need to do shit anymore, right? He literally needs to be dad to Darby Allin, and that's it.
Exactly right. Our second match of the main show, knockouts. Sorry.
Oh, no, I was going to make a really crude Vince Russo joke. Move on.
Rosemary and Taya Valkyrie versus the Influence former Knockouts Women's Tag Team Champions Madison Rayne and Tenille Dashwood, because Rosemary and Taya Valkyrie win the tag team titles, the odd couple team here.
2 matches, 2 new champs, 3 Canadian champions at this point, baby.
Let's go. Yeah, Taya Valkyrie and Rosemary kind of looked like they were friends, and this was a really meaningful moment when they actually won that match. Looked like a very nice little hug there, little exchange. And yeah, it was a good match. I like Rosemary and Taya. They're much better in my opinion than Madison Rayne. Tenille kind of is okay, but Rosemary and Taya are better in the ring than Tenille. So I think they carried this match. And they produced a good one. We're going to go 3 Dixies out of 5 for that one, for the Knockouts Championship of the World. New tag team champions, Rosemary and Taya.
Yeah. So this match was pretty good. I really did enjoy this match. I like the shout out to, I forget who said it, about Taya Valkyrie challenging the night before Thunder Rosa, so kind of leaving the multiverse open in that sense. I thought this match was great. Madison Rayne, I don't know where, but apparently she broke her nose in 2 spots in this match. But this match was great. I think the Influence did really good. You know, they're not the best per se, but this was a good match.
Yeah, it was perfectly fine. Yeah, 3 Dixies out of 5, like I said. Next, we saw a Kurt Angle video. The Kurt Angle doing his legend video. Thank you, TNA. Pretty nice to see Kurt Angle on the show.
Yeah, this was really cool. I like this. Like, you know, it reminded me of ROH's last show, right?
Yeah, exactly. It did feel, it kind of had that, obviously it was the Slammiversary, but it kind of had that celebration feel.
I have to ask, with this being Father's Day, did Jason Jordan film this video for Kurt?
Had to. Yeah, we should have seen Jason Jordan. Swing and a miss there, TNA. Next match, Sami Callihan versus Moose in a Monsters Ball match. Boris, they did bring back.
They did it. They did it. I've been waiting all day to say this. They did the gimmick.
I so love it. So the old gimmick of Monsters Ball was that before the match, the wrestlers were locked away in a room without food, water, or light for 24 hours. And then they were released and had to immediately fight. And they were supposed to make them erratic and violent. It was the rare kind of good pro wrestling cheese out of TNA. I love that gimmick. And they brought it back. And it benefited Sami Callihan because he's a crazy fucker and Moose is a real athlete.
Yeah. This match was so much better than it should have been. Like, I really did enjoy this match.
Yeah, it was a Sami Callihan style match, your hardcore brawl. But sometimes it works, sometimes it comes together, and sometimes it's just garbage for the sake of garbage. And this one worked. This one came together. I thought this was brilliant, and I was really fixing to say this was my match of the night, except the main event shocked me and blew me away.
Here's the thing. You said garbage. That garbage can spot, or the garbage lid spot, when they're literally taking unprotected hits to the head.
It's a little rough to watch in 2022. Thankfully, they're using the flimsy garbage can lids and not chairs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, like, those aren't that dangerous, but it's still an unprotected shot to the head in 2022 in a fake sport. You don't need to do it. You shouldn't.
Yeah. Also,
having said that, it's Slammiversary, right?
Yeah. Shout out to Tom Hannafin, who said Abyss would have been super proud of these two.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. Very nice. There's so many feels on this show. Yeah, very nice. Feel good. Yeah, but like, if you're going to hit each other in the head, if you're going to do 1 counts in the main event, do it at Slammiversary, not every Impact show. So I'm okay with it on this stage. So yeah, I just thought this was just a wild, bloody brawl. Again, too many thumbtacks in wrestling. Don't need to see those anymore. Probably didn't need the 1 count followed by Sami just immediately hitting another finisher and winning. It would have been awesome if Moose kicked out at 1 and then Moose won. That would have been a good finish, in my opinion. I think the 1 count was just a little tropey, a little bit of a pro wrestling trope. At the end of the day, great wrestling match, though. Sami Callihan wins with 3 pile drivers.
Yep. That was awesome. I like the fact that it took 3 pile drivers, thumbtacks, and everything, right? Moose has lost 2 high-profile programs back-to-back. So I hope he kind of gets his rehab program at this point. And I'm assuming that Sami Callihan is slowly moving up the card.
I wonder how it's all going to work. But yeah, Moose is a guy who he could end up in WWE tomorrow, though it wouldn't shock me, right? I don't know his contract status, but yeah, he's a guy who could be snatched by even AEW, but especially WWE at any time.
Yeah, as long as he's, exactly. Yeah.
So I would go as high as 4 1/4 Dixies for this one. I think it's probably going to be on our list at the end of the year.
Yep, agreed. Not the next match.
No, I didn't have much time for this. I thought they tried. It wasn't terrible, but it was about average. Good Brothers versus Briscoe Brothers. And the Good Brothers win the not the NWA anymore, the Impact Tag Team Championship, Boris. Your boy, Luke Gallows.
Yeah, good for them. 3-time champs now. I'm shocked that the Briscoes lost so quickly. Are they staying in Impact? They're like, what's the deal?
Yeah, I think it's like Mark just had another kid, and apparently like it was a little bit of a rough go for Mark and his wife for that pregnancy, as I understand it. I hope everyone's okay. And the Briscoe clan love the Briscoe brothers, but yeah, in my opinion, my read is that they're just giving them some time off.
Yeah, because
or at least Mark.
What happens after the match felt like a going away type thing, right? That's why I was like, I wonder what's going on.
Yeah, because we got America's Most Wanted returning, Chris Harris, Wildcat Braden Walker himself, and Cowboy James Storm. So yeah, so it feels like they're kind of focusing away from the Briscoes for the time being, which is why I think Mark's getting some time off, and maybe Jay as well, just to heal up. I'm sure they're banged up. But yeah, Mark, I think probably for family reasons, it seems. Anyway, so America's Most Wanted looking like they're challenging the Good Brothers. They are reunited. Chris Harris back in TNA.
Yeah. Here's the thing that scares me. Not scares me, but I'm not really looking forward to too much. The way that the world is aligning, I think we're going to be seeing an FTR versus Good Brothers match very soon.
Gross. I don't want to see it. That's like the team in all of wrestling that I want to see FTR wrestle the least. Honestly, yeah. I have no time. The way you have no time for Kurt Hawkins, I have no time for these Good Brothers.
Yeah, I know.
A really, really nice video showcasing Don West and Mike Tenay, showing some love to Don West battling cancer right now, showing you where to donate if you are so inclined. And yeah, just very, very nice. Another good feel-good moment. And it was just like, man, like Don West and Mike Tenay really did try this whole time. They were working so hard to make some sense of this crazy shit.
Yeah, kudos to them. And it just goes to show you the respect that their peers and colleagues have. You know, I don't know if you noticed, but what's their name? Raywold and Heineken, they were kind of emotional after.
Yeah, definitely. It was getting a little dusty in there. You could tell it meant a lot to them. It was a very, very nice package video. I should have worded that better. It was a very nice video package for Don West there. I'm sure he would have giggled at that.
I have to say this joke
for Don West.
Speaking of a nice package, who shows up next?
Christy Hemme?
Yeah.
Oh, you girl, Christy Hemme. So she introduces Scott D'Amore, the coach of Team Canada, wearing the Team Canada jersey with the Team Canada flag and hockey stick. Love to see Coach Scott D'Amore doing some commentary. Boris, correct me if I'm wrong here, but it seemed like Scott D'Amore was at the same bar that Charles Barkley visited between periods. It seemed like he was maybe having a cocktail or two on this one.
Scott D'Amore was amazing this night.
Loved Scott D'Amore on commentary for the 10-man tag. Impact versus Ring of Honor. Impact Originals versus Honor No More. So our teams are the ROH side, Honor No More, Eddie Edwards, Matt Taven, ya boy, Mike Bennett, PCO, and Vincent. The Impact side, Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley, and Chris Sabin. Frankie Kazarian, Nick Aldis, and their mystery partner, the American Wolf, Davey Richards.
So at first I'm like, Davey Richards, what? And then it clicked. Eddie Edwards is on the opposing team.
Absolutely. So I do like that storyline.
Yeah.
Long time Impact legendary tag team, the American Wolves, Davey Richards, Eddie Edwards, fighting each other here on opposite sides. And also it added a little bit of intrigue because Davey Richards could easily have flipped just like Eddie did, right? Maybe that was going to be the storyline.
And it should be noted that at ringside, we saw Tracy Brooks, who looks better than ever. And Earl Hebner was there, man.
Oh, yeah, and both would get heavily involved in this match. Tracy Brooks jumping Tracy Brooks, of course, we should say, is the wife of Frankie Kazarian, if you weren't aware. So she jumped the barricade when Maria Kanellis was getting involved. Tracy Brooks chases off Maria. They have a ECW-style catfight, if you will.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, this was a very entertaining 10-man tag. Lots of shenanigans. You could say it was overbooked, but I think for this night, for this storyline, it was exactly what it needed to be. I liked it a lot.
If you say this match was overbooked, then the main event was overbooked.
Oh my God. Yeah, absolutely. But you could easily say both things.
And we'll talk about the main event, but there is something. The reason why we say this night, it's because it's not just any anniversary. It's the 20th anniversary of a company that literally no one thought would ever survive. You have to give the company credit for this, right? So I like the fact that, there was just a lot of callbacks in this match, in the main event, throughout the show, and it kind of made for feel-good moments, especially how the end happened. Because if any other weekend, I would have complained about the Hebner stuff, but not this weekend.
Yes, on the weekend where Dave Hebner sadly leaves us and passes away, the ref is down, so who should emerge from the audience but Earl Hebner? God bless him, taking forever to get up to the apron, to get his shirt off, to reveal the referee shirt, Boris. And Earl Hebner counts the 3. Impact defeats Ring of Honor. And this just felt like a wild party match, like one of those celebrations of wrestling. It was a feel-good wrestling match. We're gonna go as high as 3.5 Dixies out of 5 for this one. It worked for me.
Yeah, this worked for me. We saw the former VP of Aces and Eights in this match, D'Lo Brown. Dude,
yes,
he struggled on that frog splash.
Yeah, D'Lo Brown hits an awesome sky high and then almost slips off the top rope a couple times, delivering a king-sized frog splash. Nice to see D'Lo Brown coming out. Yeah, man, it's good. This is a party match. Indeed, it was a party.
Yep. This match was fun. Look, it wasn't the best match. Yeah, it was overbooked, but matches like this where there's a lot of meaning, where there's a lot of stuff, the Hebner stuff, especially after the match when the Hebners kind of pointed to the sky. Yeah. I'm a sucker for shit like that in wrestling.
Exactly, man. It's like if they could produce some real feelings in professional wrestling, this silly fake fight, especially watch that first Impact episode, the first ever TNA from 2002, and then watch this, and it's crazy that they actually produced something good and memorable like this, from their 20-year history.
We go from that feel-good moment to the biggest surprise of the night, which I kind of knew was coming, but we got a video message from
the phenomenal AJ Styles is our next TNA legend to chime in, basically thanking TNA for his entire career, and was sure to thank WWE for letting him do the video, have to kiss the ring. Vince McMahon is still strutting to the ring to this day, my friend. But yes, AJ Styles here on TNA television, WWE wrestler, acknowledging his time as a TNA legend and thanking the audience, thanking the company, thanking all the higher ups. This was nice.
This was such a feel-good moment. I love this. I absolutely love this.
Same. That was very good. Next up, another really solid match. Dangerous. There's a couple crazy spots. Queen of the Mountain, the reverse ladder match. Chelsea Green, Deonna Purrazzo, Mia Yim, Tasha Steelz, former champion, and your winner and new champion, Jordynne Grace. So the rules of the Queen of the Mountain match, in a nutshell, it's a reverse ladder match. The goal is to hang up the belt, but you can't just grab the belt and hang it up. You must become eligible. How do you become eligible? Well, everyone starts as ineligible. In order to actually become eligible to hang the belt, you must score a pinfall over one of your opponents. Cool. So if you get pinned, what happens? Well, Boris, they wheel one of those fucking cages to the rings that the women used to dance in 2002. And that is a penalty box, you see. So if you are pinned, you go to the penalty box for 2 minutes where you feel shame, as the movie Slapshot has taught us.
That is the greatest description to this shit show, like, of rules. Like, it's just crazy. But I've seen some King of the Mountain matches. You know, one of the most famous ones probably being when AJ Styles won against, Angle, Jarrett, Joe, and others. Yeah. Maybe Nash was in that match.
There's one spot that I remember where AJ gets flipped off the penalty box through a table, which is one of the craziest things I've ever seen in wrestling.
But having said that, I think the bump that Deonna Purrazzo and Chelsea Green, the former VXT, took in this match was insane.
Chelsea Green landed so hard. Apparently she has worked the Impact tapings that just happened. She is probably banged up but healthy, which is great because it looked like it injured her and she was out for the rest of the match, I think. But yeah, Chelsea Green, they did the old flying through the tables off the ladder to the outside of the ring. They only landed on 2 tables, not 4, which you sometimes see. And yeah, it was just a hard landing for Chelsea Green. That was really painful.
Yeah, it was hard for Chelsea Green. But if you notice, Deonna Purrazzo's arm was around Chelsea Green. How she didn't break her arm, I don't know.
Oh, that's a really good call too, man. Yeah, it's just a dangerous, wild match. A little sloppy, and another complaint I would have is too much Mickie James. Mickie James was the special guest enforcer, but she was wrestling as I saw more Mickie James arguably than I did Tasha Steelz, who was the champion coming into this match, so too much Mickie.
All right, so if we're going to complain about anything, this is the perfect way to end a imperfect championship reign. Great match. Unfortunately, Tasha Steelz was never the leader of the Knockouts division. And this match proved it.
No, you're right. In a way, it's perfect. But it is a tough beat for Tasha. You know what I mean? Like, she never got the focus. And then in the match where she lost the title, she barely got the focus.
Exactly. It's just par for course. And it bothers me. I've been saying it for so long. It's been bothering me, and this kind of sucked. That alone would take down the score at least half a Dixie Carter.
Yeah, I think that's fair. So yeah, we're gonna go around 3.5. They worked so hard. It was still an entertaining match. I'll go. Well, you want to settle on 3.5? Dixies.
Let's go 3.5,
for this
dude.
Yeah.
I gotta give the respect to the workers. They did an awesome job. Dangerous, crazy spots.
Absolutely, yeah. Really entertaining match, laid out well, except for the fact that there was way too damn much Mickie James.
Yeah.
All right, so we get our final TNA backstage legend promo. This one, she's actually live on location. It's Goldilocks, your girl. She's the TNA legend. No, I'm kidding. But Goldilocks does introduce our TNA legend, Gail Kim, who thanks the audience. The most impactful knockout of all time by fan vote. It was nice to see Gail, man. I love Gail Kim, love Gail Kim's work. Her feud with Awesome Kong was absolutely incredible. I think she's one of the greats.
I know someone who doesn't.
Yeah, we don't need to name them, but one of our listeners, one of our pals, not a Gail Kim fan. We won't out them. They can present that take if they want the scorn that will come with it, the Michael scorn that will come with it.
Yep. Oh man, but yeah. So yeah, this main event. I think it's time to chat about this main event.
Shockingly great match. Arguably, I would hear an argument. This is the best match of Eric Young's career. I can't name a better one off the top of my head. All our Eric Young historians, EY enthusiasts, let us know if there's a better Eric Young match out there than Eric Young versus Josh Alexander in the main event of Slammiversary 2022. It was a love letter to TNA. It was literally you know what it was, man? Do you remember the first Young Bucks versus
FTR?
Revival FTR match?
Yep.
That's exactly what this was. That is the exact same layout.
Exactly what I was waiting to say. I'm so happy that you saw it the same way. Dude, even from the fact that when Josh Alexander was coming out, they're like, his trunks are inspired by Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
You knew what we were going to get.
Absolutely. So we saw a styles clash, an angle slam through a table, ankle locks. We saw a guitar used, a la Jeff Jarrett. We saw the ring mat pulled up and pile drivers delivered, a la Bully Ray and others. And just a love letter to TNA, to the wackiness, to the stars that have come out. We saw Samoa Joe's spots.
Black Hole Slam. We saw Abyss's Black Hole Slam. Like,
so much fun, man. The stroke again, Boris. We saw a stroking.
We saw an STO
yes.
and the best moonsault ever. Like,
oh yes. Oh man, one of the best spots of this match was in the corner, right near. This is right near the finish of the match too. In the corner that they had pulled up the ring padding, so it's just exposed floorboards. Eric Young eats a disgusting uranagi, the old Samoa Joe thing where he rock bottoms the guy out of the corner. Eric Young eats that on the floorboards of the ring. Just a crazy spot.
When he did that, if you notice his hands, he's like, dude, can I still move my body?
Oh, absolutely.
It just looked insane. This match.
Kudos for taking that bump. That's a hell of a bump.
Yeah. And honestly, you know what makes me prouder of this match than the fact that not only was it from Impact, the little promotion that could, two good old Canadian boys.
Absolutely. Oh, Canada, home and native land, true patriot love. All of us command. Man, yeah, just an incredible match. I honestly think it's the best match I've ever seen Eric Young have ever in my life. Josh Alexander, I'd say probably like the TJP Iron Man was really good. I've seen a couple of that I would say probably better. This is a great match. It will be on our list at the end of the year. It is 4 1/4 Dixies. At least you could talk me into this being an all-time classic because it wrapped up so well. The TNA story. It could be 4.5. I would hear that argument.
4 3/4. 4 3/4 for me.
Ooh,
the love letter to Impact. Callbacks. Announcing was great. Crowd was into it. Matches of Eric Young's career. All of that together honestly puts this at 4 3/4. Beautiful match, so well done. After the insane uranagi, we get a C4 spike on the exposed ring boards. 1, 2, 3. Josh Alexander wins. He celebrates to close the show. Dude, this was so good.
Yeah, people talked a lot of shit. Eric Young main eventing pay-per-view in 2022. LOL.
I did.
Yeah. Fair enough. But hey, we had to eat some crow on this one because this match was a phenomenal wrestling match. Like you said, Josh Alexander wins with his double underhook pile driver, the C4 spike, 18 minutes and 50 seconds. One of the best wrestling matches of the year. Honestly, the best Impact match of the year. For sure.
This is so good. Josh Alexander is continuing his claim to be, top 3 wrestlers of the year so far.
Yeah, man, he's had a spectacular year doing good work in TNA. And hey, I think we did it, buddy. It was a longer show than I expected. We spent a lot of time on that retro TNA show. There was a lot to discuss, though.
Yeah, this is exactly what I wanted this to be. Dude, my voice is really starting to go. I don't know. I don't know how many times, you have seen that I've just started coughing up a storm.
Yeah, I'm sorry to keep you, brother. Take a break, grab some medicine, put a Halls into you. Thank you very much for listening, everyone, though. This was a fun show. We have a lot coming up. Next week, it's going to be at least we got to do Forbidden Door star ratings. We're going to talk some Forbidden Door. The week after that, we could talk some Money in the Bank. The week after that, we got the G1 for a bunch of time. We have some gimmicks coming up in the summer. We're going to work on a retro show or two. Perhaps TNA will make its way back in a month or so. I'm not doing it every week. You can't fucking make me, Boris. I won't.
I can't pay you enough to do it. Yeah. Anyways, honestly, thank you, Matt. This has honestly been a very fun show. Chatting sports, chatting wrestling, chatting everything in between. And to all the listeners, again, thank you for listening. For the SNME patrons, we love you. It means so much to us. We do this for the love of the game. Having said that, he's Matt. I'm Boris. Stay tranquilo.
Aye, aye.